Welcome to the Femininja Project. I am your host, Cheryl I Love, middle-aged ninja hiding in plain sight, dedicated to restoring human dignity one person at a time and helping you unleash your personal power. Discover that it's possible to look like a woman, act like a lady, move like a ninja, and think like a warrior. And remember, men are always welcome on the Femininja Project. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Femininja Project, and thank you so much for tuning in. And we're talking about mental health today. I have an amazing guest. His name is Krisztian Riez. He is the founder and owner of Mind Bloome, a platform and a community for anyone suffering with mental health issues. Like many people, Kris suffered from mental health issues for many years until he developed new skills and behaviors that dealt with addressing the core root of his trauma and mental health challenges. He is now dedicated to helping others find their own path to mental health and wellness. Kris is also the host of the podcast, Kris Corner, where he and his guests talk about all things mental health. Kris, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the show.
It's the pleasure in being here, bored and having a good chat.
So tell us a little bit about your mental health issues, if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, no, I'm the way I look at it is if I can open up about my story, hopefully it allows people to open up about theirs. And that's how you start healing, is when you start opening up and start, figuring out how to heal. But the first you got to talk about it in order to heal. For me, it's probably started at a childhood age, no birth father. So he was out of the picture completely. My grandfather was an alcoholic who beat up on my grandma. So I didn't really see too much of that, but my mom and my uncle dealt with that quite substantially. And then I was sexually abused by my stepfather. And then from there, my mom, bipolar and dealing with her own mental demons, suicide was very common, overdosing on pills. So it's a very toxic environment. Trying to find your place in the world when you have a lot of different trauma is hard, especially when people are repeating the same trauma. So I was like, I need to do something. I went to Vancouver Island, did Bikram yoga. Everybody's like, yoga's great. That worked. I got bored. And then I just decided to go to New Zealand for a girl, which ended up in, heartbreak, as you do when you're a 20-year-old kid and you don't know too much about life. And then I ended up living in Australia for 10 years. And that's where things started to shape, where I learned to, I did CBT therapy. I did hypnotherapy. I've done counseling, psychology, Reiki. The Qigong seems to really grab me really well with the flow, as well as just really looking into my mindset from every aspect, emotional mindset as well, and your trauma, and really healing it's not healing every aspect of it, but it's more like accepting like it's okay to feel this way. It's okay. And reframing everything in a manner that allows you to be the best version of you. And then I came over back to see my grandma who passed away. And then that being said, I looked around me and there's so many people struggling with mental health. And I was like, there has to be something. We have to do something. Like, as a community, yes, there's a lot of really good platforms out there. But, for me personally, psychology and counseling didn't work. Others, it works amazing. For me, it just didn't click or connect. And so I was like, I need to put together something for people that really this can help. And that's what we're doing right now with Mind Bloom, which we're transferring over to MB Mental Health will be the name. And we're really just connecting people who need a little bit of direction, don't know where to go to get help, and are open to different modalities other than counseling or psychology. You know what I mean? Like, there's methods out there, like just even sound therapy, even talking about just basic active listening. Like, we talk to so many people that have traumatized about active listening, and people are like, I just want to be heard. I just want my voice to be heard. So that's what I'm working on passionately, and we should be up and running, knock on wood, by May. We'll have a landing page to create all the buzz around it. And then May, June, we should be up and running, rocking and rolling, and truly helping people one person at a time.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Several of the things that you said just really resonated with me. And, one is it's okay to feel the way that you feel. Because I think a lot of times it's like, oh, come on, don't feel sad or don't feel that way. Or, hey, you've got so much to be happy about. What's the big deal? What's the problem? And I think that's why that just exacerbates people's struggles with mental health, because they're being marginalized and invalidated.
Yeah. And I think as well, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen to women, because it does. It happens to both. Like, I think equally, me personally, but there is a little bit of I'll say little bit, because I think we're equating a lot more with awareness and mental health. Guys are supposed to just shut up and take it and go, you're the man. You're supposed to carry the family. And if you lead the charge, you're supposed to be confident, calm, collect, even when everything's breaking down inside. Problem with that is, you know what, you're not really helping anybody if you're not helping yourself. And so I think being able to talk about it like this is awesome, and having that awareness and saying it's okay to not get out of your bed today, but you got to recognize it first in order to start changing that process and understand where you need to go with it.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I almost said it myself. And I thought, maybe I shouldn't say that, but that especially for men, that they are taught to just suck it up and, be a man and go about your day. You should be strong and you shouldn't be, that's almost like a sign of weakness. And with women, especially, we have a tendency to just kind of like, barf our feelings all over each other. So,
more so,
yes,
a little bit more so than guys. Yes.
Yeah. We're a little bit more free about that. But even, with my own experience with trauma, which was, later in life, even when I was trying to reach out to other people and say, oh my God, I've got this problem, I need help, this happened to me, and I was completely shut down, which actually exacerbated everything that I was experiencing and launched me into full-blown PTSD. I think that people need to be not only, talk about what their experience was, but when other people hear someone who's asking for help, that active listening is so important, and the lack of judgment. And so what you're doing is really so valuable in that area.
Well, I find as well with the judgment is that even like I've talked to people that have seen different therapists, and this is for like, what I'm noticing is that there are a lot of really good therapists out there, but it only takes one to have that negative experience for you to turn off. Like, example, I went to go see a psychologist and, told them what's going on and whatever. They're like, you need pills. Now, in my experience, I could say only in my experience, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to say yes or no to that. But from my experience, I've tried it. It doesn't work for me. It's not something that, and I was like, I told that person, I'm like, it doesn't work for me. I really just need you to listen. And they just kept pushing that narrative on me of going, you need this. And I'm like, okay, you're not listening. Like, and I think for me, it's like being an active listener, being in that person's corner, their best friend, and going, supporting them. How you support them is you need to listen to what they need as support. And maybe even for me as a partner, to my partner and my boys, being a more active listener into their life. And I think we can all do that a little bit more, and understanding, hey, what does this person truly want, rather than, oh, I know what you want, I know what you need.
I always tell people that they need to be their own expert, because we know ourselves much better than anybody else does. And a lot of times the experts, even before we walk into their office or by the time that we get there and they see our history, or they already have a preconceived notion of what we need. It's almost like, okay, this is the diagnosis, this is going to be the treatment. We're all different. We're not machines. We're not robots. We all have different experiences, different biology, different history, and we all have different ways of healing. And that's why I love that you were talking about. Now, I'm not sure what CBT therapy is, so I want you to explain that.
Cognitive behavioral therapy. For me, CBT is just going into the trauma itself. So I'll give you an example. So I had a massive in my childhood, one of the major key facets was I didn't really have a strong male figure in my life other than my uncle. So I give him full credit. He's like a dad to me. So is like my grandma is like a mom to me. So those two people really gave me an anchor point. Without those two people, I probably wouldn't be here today. I'll tell you that right now. But CBT allowed me to go into, the feeling of abandonment with, it was my birth father was the one issue that I really targeted, and going into that feelings and going, hey, talking to that 18-year-old person and going, hey, it's okay. Like, I get it. You're 18. You don't know what to do. Your mom's telling you to do this. I can't blame you for the actions that you took. You know what? But to me, what I learned out of that is to accept what's happened, but as well, I've realized what is being a father, what is being a parent. A parent is doing the hard things consistently and improving yourself daily so that you can lead the way and the charge for the kids around, for the kids that you're trying to teach.
So do you feel like, your experience in your past and your process of healing definitely impacts the way that you parent?
100%. I'm still I was in the military a little bit, and I still am a little bit more, they call me a dictator, but
your boys do.
No, at the end of the day, there's a time to play and there's a time to just get things done and work as a team to get things done instead of being selfish and not thinking about other people. So I guess for me, yeah, definitely, I still have a long way to learn. Like my growth, like I'll always be a forever student as a parent, and as someone for my own mental health, because we have ebbs and flows. But yeah, it definitely has helped me become a more empathetic person that has allowed me to go, crap, like I get how you guys are feeling, like, because they went through trauma themselves. Like my partner's ex husband took his own life, and they were at a time where they don't know this story. So that is something that she will tell them when it works for them, but she gives little bits and drabs. And the oldest one, who has more connection, more memories to that person, it feels that abandonment, which I understand. Like I get it. I dealt with that abandonment till I was like, till I was mid-20s, where I had to deal with it. So I could see where he gets it from, and why did he leave and not come back and say, nothing, if he loved us so much, or all these stories. And like I said, that's not for me to say because I don't have that relationship with that person, but all I can do is understand and relate. With the youngest one, not so much, because that person wasn't there that much for them. But for the oldest one, he has those more memories, more experiences. So it's a process that I'm even learning as well.
It's almost like, it's such a delicate dance, a relationship. Yes. And relationships are always changing. And, because the kids are growing, there are things that are going on in your life, but good for you. I'm very proud of you. You should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. And then we're talking about like the Reiki and the Qigong, which resonates with me because of my martial arts background. But if you can explain a little bit to some of the listeners who might not understand what Qigong is, just a little blurb, and even Reiki as well.
Well, I'm not a master. So I'm not a practitioner. So I didn't take any courses or anything in that manner. All I did was I did research on it. Like, I really like some principles in Buddhism. And I like some principles in the Shaolin Kung Fu style, where, some elements, they talk about energy, being connected to the earth in those elements. So doing a little bit of research about energy and what it is, and the flow of energy in your body, I was like, interesting. That's cool. And, I liked yoga to some level, but I'm not that flexible. And so I felt very like going into these weird moves, it was a lot harder. And I know some people are like, oh, just do it lightly. But what I found with Qigong is a lot of the movements in Qigong, it's very flowing. It's very like, you feel like a master, but you're not really a master. If that makes sense. Like you're like, just do this movement, and you're like watching on YouTube or learning from a couple different courses. And for me, it's just a flow of energy in your body. And sometimes energy, from my understanding, stagnates in your body. And that's why some ailments happen or pop up. Whether that's true or not, I'm not that person. I'm not that expert to say yes or no, but I do know that when I flow that energy in my body and do certain movements, 20, 30 minutes a day, I feel like feels that there's a better flow. Like I feel like my body, my mind, soul are connected a lot more so and more grounded. And Reiki, from my understanding, when it comes to the healing, and which we are, we discuss practitioners that are part of the MB Mental Health platform in Reiki, is all it is using energy flow and helping, I guess, direct, guide, stuff that may be blocking you, and sort of increasing your ebb and flow. It's like a river, ebb and flow. And sometimes some things block you. It could be trauma. It could be other things as well. And the purpose of Reiki, from my understanding, is creating that ebb and flow of that constant cycle in your body of energy.
So it's really interesting because the two have one thing in common, major thing in common, and that is the movement of the energy in your body to get energy unstuck. And I am not an expert in this area either, but I do have quite a bit of experience with it. And there is a Chinese proverb. Let me hope I could remember it. It is, without movement, there is pain.
Yeah,
with movement, there is no pain. And what they're referring to actually is the movement in the body. And they're talking about qi. It symbolizes energy within the body. So if you have that internal flow of energy internally, you have no pain. It's a way of getting rid of physical, mental, emotional pain.
Well, but look at it this way as well, is why do people like going hiking, or why do people like going to the beach or the ocean? Like I love surfing. Like if I'm beside an ocean, I will be in the water at least a couple hours a day minimum. Like it's just, but it's that flow, like that energy, like that movement of your body and feeling connected. And I think people, whether they realize it or not, I live in Calgary, Alberta, and we are really close to the mountains. And I just wonder, I'm like, there's a lot of people going to the mountains. And I'm like, what draws people to the mountains? Like what draws people to go hiking? And I think people either subconsciously do it or they're aware that, oh, I like it. But I think on a deeper level, that flow and that movement of energy is that, that flow of energy, which allows them to heal or work through stress or problems, or, and circulate that good with the bad and remove it so they feel a lot better.
Even as a little girl, I was always drawn to the mountains. And of course, I grew up in Western Pennsylvania. So we had a lot of hills, not quite the mountains that I have now in Colorado. But every time I go to the mountains, it's a feeling I can't even describe. It's just so incredibly powerful. It's so healing. It's so therapeutic. It's like I could stay there forever. And I just get into my happy place. Even if I go out of town or I fly somewhere, maybe I go back east to visit my family. When I come back, as I'm driving from the airport and I see those mountains, all of a sudden I just feel this incredible release and a sigh of, I'm home.
Yeah, it definitely has a good place in my heart as well. And it makes me, every time I look at a mountain, I'm like, how old is this? Like, 100,000 or more, like a million. Like, I like to collect little fossils that are like, I have a fossil that I just found or I purchased. It's like it looks like a cockroach, to be honest, but it's not that, the cockroach itself. It's like 300 million years old. And to me, it's like this moment in time that I'm in right now is temporary. It's like, it's a blip in like 300 million years. Like, come on, like my 100 years, let's say it's 100 years, is such it's like a speck. And so to me, it's just enjoy the process, enjoy the movement, enjoy the people around you, and try to heal, whatever shape or form that looks like to you.
So now with your platform and your community, the Mind Bloom, soon to be MB Mental Health, what type of, do you have therapies that you offer? Are you like a consulting service?
No, we help people we direct people to different mental health therapies. Currently right now, the 3 therapies that we offer is hypnotherapy, breath work, and nutrition. We found that hypnotherapy some people like it, but it is a little bit more deeper, and it can do a lot more. It helps with the PTSD. We found that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of research articles, hypnotherapy has been very effective with PTSD and trauma. Breath work, well, that's simple. People are like, well, breath work, what do you mean? I breathe all the time. Yes, but look at the Buddhist monks. They control their breathing. They're, like example would be is I watched a documentary on Buddhist monks that went up to, I think it's the Himalayan mountains. And what they do is they take the robes off. They put these literally frozen robes on, and it's like they're ice. And they increase their core temperature by, I believe, I don't know, it's 5 or 10. I don't know exactly what it is, 5 or 10 degrees. And they make these robes warm, like dry, and then repeat the process. How does that happen? Breath work. Breath work is a very key component in dealing with stress and dealing with how your body reacts and dealing with the many situations there. And lastly, we're like, well, you control what you eat by what you're breathing, or you control how you feel by how you're breathing, but as well what you're eating. So those are the key main areas that we're focusing on right now. We're always receptive of adding more modalities, which the goal is to add 20, 30, 40, as many modalities as people want. We're still doing research, but right now we stick with 3. Then probably by the end of the year, we'll do 6 or 7, and then 10. So the goal is to help people go, oh, sound therapy, I never knew that would, and it helps them. Awesome. Great.
Yeah, I think that people, especially when they get into that place where they're either really depressed or they're going through some mental health challenges, they don't really understand or they don't realize what alternatives are out there. I tried therapy for a while and I just couldn't stand it. And actually, I felt like it was making me worse instead of better. And then when I started taking some martial arts classes, it was like, wow, this is, for me, it was a lot more effective and it was a lot less expensive. And to this day, I'm still training. So it's not a one size fits all. And
Correct.
So that's why I think people don't understand what's out there. And once they can see that there are other possibilities, other pathways to heal and other things to try, it gives them hope.
Well, and the other thing that we found is that people's mental health is like their life, ebbs and flows. There's some good, a low moment, so example, let's say in the platform, and the other thing with the platform is you can have multiple therapies. So you can do all 3 therapies at once if you feel that helps you at that time. And in my life, and what I'm seeing is that, let's say you're working on breath work and you're like, you know what, I dealt with this stress, let's say a stressful situation, learning about breath work from this practitioner helped. Great. Now you're going up and you're like, oh, I'm feeling better. Let's just say someone dies. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen to you or anybody, or something traumatic happens. And then boom, you go into a really depressive, you need something maybe a bit stronger, maybe say hypnotherapy. That you like. So what I'm saying is that these modalities are not just, yeah, you're done, goodbye. It's like they're here to assist you in your mental health journey for the rest of your life. Whenever you need them, the goal is to give you skills to help empower you to live a better and quality of life, the better quality of life that you have, then the better quality of life people around you have. That's our goal, is we can empower you to make a better positive change in your life, to be the best version of you. Well, then that change is going to definitely rub off on other people that are maybe not doing the right thing, or maybe don't know how or where to go for the right thing.
Well, life is full of hits, is what I always tell people.
100%.
And none of us get through life without our own fair share of them. But when you do have tools in your tool chest to rely on, once you've gone through, experienced Reiki or Qigong, or I don't really like yoga either. It just didn't work for me, but for some people it does. But there are so many different things that you can try. And that's why you're giving them this platform, where they can experience a lot of different things. But even though, you might try it and it works for you, you always have that skill.
Correct. And that's the goal, is to empower you. It's not like some things, I won't label them, but some things are there as a short-term Band-Aid of going, here you go, you feel better, fantastic, great. Example, maybe sugar. Maybe there you go, sugar. I give you some sugar, you feel better, awesome. Oh, cool. But when the hit rubs off, reality checks in, and then you're like, ugh. So I have a bad sugar tendency. So that's why I'm saying from my experience, sugar is probably, I try to manage it a lot better. But the goal is to teach, like what you're saying, skills. You know, if you have a toolkit full of, 15 different skills, like for me, when I feel stressed, I do breathing. I push out my chest naturally, hold it for 3 to 5 seconds, go back, do about 10, 20 times. Elsewise, if I'm feeling very stagnant, I'll just do like a 15, 20-minute Qigong routine that I know that I've done in the past that really wakes me up and just allows me to flow. If I'm really struggling, I'll do even journaling or, even talking. Like I talk to a couple of therapists. I have a hypnotherapist that I speak to, even a counselor. So I do use counseling. It's not like it's, oh my God. No, it's just from my experience, when people open up to you as a client, I think the goal as a practitioner, and what I'm learning on the platform side of what the practitioners does and the users do, the practitioner has to listen and be active in that listening and truly like, if you're not listening for what they want and what they need, how are you helping?
Exactly. And, for the listeners or for anybody who is struggling, if you do, try therapy and you're not getting the results that you want, then try another one.
Yeah. Like I said, like for me, I did yoga for about a year and a half, every day. And I'm not saying it was bad. Wow. It was good. It was a good workout and whatnot. And like, even now I'll do Shivanasana, which is like laying down there and breathe and maybe do a basic stretch. But I like more, for me, Qigong is just, it's a lot easier. Like I feel like I can move my body, my legs, and it works for me, and breath work as well. And example, I will say this, is I met a lady and she was struggling severely with depression. And what's interesting, she found this competition, this to work out or whatever, like, like a 30-day competition or whatnot, be your best self. She did it and her whole life changed. And her whole, like, she's eating cleaner, she's feeling better, goes to the gym every day. And I was like, that's what I mean. Like what you're saying, everybody has a different locking key. And I think recognizing that everybody's locking key is different and going, that's okay. One size doesn't always fit all. And I think that's very true in today's age. We have so many modalities out there that we don't even know about, that may work for the person who's tried 5 different things and is like, my life sucks. I see a black hole and I'm never getting out.
The one word you used is empower. You're empowering people to take charge of their own mental health and to be able to not be, not handing their power over to somebody else and saying, heal me, fix me. And Correct. It's incredibly empowering and liberating to be able to have that kind of inner authority of your own life and your own health, both physical, mental, emotional, psychological, cognitive, everything. To be able to have those tools is just so, so important.
Well, the saying that we have, and so the saying with the platform is the journey starts with you. And the reason why is because you are the only person that will take the first step. You are the only person that knows what you need to do or where you need to go. No one can make you do something that you don't want to do. And I've been on the receiving end as well as the other side going, come on, you need to do this. Not understanding that people just dig in their heels more and they go, back off, shut up. Like, don't talk to me. Like, you don't know me. You don't know my story. And that's okay. But I think for me, the journey starts with you. And if we can help assist that and really just help support people and go, hey, we're in your corner, whatever that looks like for you, but you need to make the first step. We can't, push you. We can give you everything possible and direct you to the right resources, but you need to make the first step. Because when you do, you realize that's where the empowerment takes place. You do it once, and you do it again. You do it again. Just like in the martial arts. Imagine you went to the first class and you're like, I don't know. And then you did it again. And now you're at, you're probably at a very successful martial arts career, and because you took that charge by taking that first step.
Yeah. There's another proverb. What is it? That the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. 100%. And that's actually what the white belt is. It represents taking that first step to a new life and to changing. But the other thing that I love what you said when you were saying that, somebody was if you go to somebody who's telling you this is what you need to do, you have to do this and that, and you shut down and you say, no, shut up, get away from me.
Yeah.
Even when you do that, though, that no, shut up, get away from me, to me, that symbolizes, or that shows a little bit of spirit and fire of wanting to take charge of your own life.
True. And that's the thing is like me not being an expert, like I'm learning about from all experts. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool. And there's so many things in this that empowerment can come from. And example, you nail it. You hit it on the head with, even saying, leave me alone. I'll do my own thing. And that's me. I do it my way, even though it's a hard way. But what I have learned now is that there's a lot of people, a lot of amazing practitioners out there that want to help. And the goal our goal is just to put them in front of people that need help and help direct them to that help.
Mm-hmm. Just to know that there is that pool of people available.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm. So how can people find Mind Bloom?
So 2 ways. One on LinkedIn. If you just look up my name, Krisztian Riez, that's always one. Or you look up Mind Bloom on LinkedIn, or even on Facebook. We have a Facebook group called MB, Gaming and Mental Health. Normally I'll put all the announcements on, when the landing page comes up. You can do a pre-order or a pre-sale, my apologies, to get in at a really good rate and great discount. So that will be awesome there. So that's where we can do it right now. And the goal is keep moving forward and trying to get this platform pushed out and start helping people one person at a time.
I love that. Keep moving forward. One more question then. The Facebook group, is that something that people can, do you have to join, or is it an open
so
group?
It's an open group. So it's not private. So you can see it. You can look at it from a third eye. If you're like, I don't know what, that's cool. But you can always join the group, look it up, MB, Gaming and Mental Health. Pretty simple, straightforward. Everybody's pretty chill in there. Some resources in there. And then eventually we're going to create a private group where we'll be running seminars on different aspects on mental health with the practitioners from our platform. So it'd be a great way of meeting our practitioners in a more interactive approach.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, do you have any final little pearls of wisdom to leave with the audience?
I think the 2 things are as quite simply as the journey starts with you. Really look at yourself and understand where you're at, and understand it's okay where you're at. If you're in a dark place, accept that you're in a dark place. Don't try to go, I need to change because, Facebook told me I need to be empowered. And no, be okay with where you're at. The second thing I always strongly recommend doing is surround yourself with people in your corner. And what I mean by people in your corner, I mean people that don't cut you down and go, see that flaw, see that flaw, see that flaw, see that flaw. Look how bad you are. Look, you used to be a bad person or whatever that is. But people that just want to listen, support you in the journey that you're taking in. And there's awesome groups out there. There's amazing practitioners out there. And even maybe some friends that have gone through some stuff. Reach out. We're on the same path. Mental health affects us all. I'll tell you that right now. We all get depressed. We all get stressed. We all get anxious. We're on the same journey together. And the goal is to help each other as a community.
Yep. Lift everybody up.
100%.
Krisztian, thank you so much for being here. I just have really loved it. Some wonderful information, great tips. And I'm just so happy that you're doing what you're doing and you're providing a wonderful service to the, not, just the mental health community, but to everybody. Because like you said, it impacts all of us.
Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. And it was awesome having a chat with you today.
And everybody, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And please do check out Kris's Facebook page, LinkedIn, connect with him. I know he would love to connect with you. And also remember that the journey starts with you. And that is the way of the Femininja. And that's a wrap on another episode of the Femininja Project. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, be safe, be strong, and until next time, bye now.